Yeah, it looks like a pretty serious operation going to go on here. The doctor has all of his tools, and I think the plan is to repair the side window because one of the sliders are broken. He seems to be pretty... Oh, here's the lobster claw. Yeah, I love this tool. It's for taking off the door panel without breaking the little bosses that hold on the white... They call them Christmas trees. They're little cut fasteners that go into the door of the car, hold the door panel on. And we have, looks like 3 different kinds of pliers. One is regular pliers, the other 2 are channel lock types, adjustable. And looks like number 2 and number 3 screwdrivers, Phillips screwdrivers. So, yeah, this was the car. 1996 Buick Roadmaster. This procedure would be similar to the same era Caprice, Impala, or Fleetwood. There might be slightly different ways of taking the door panel off, but once that's off, it's pretty much the same. Here we're describing how the Roadmaster Sedan is the only one of these B or D body cars from 91 to 96 where the rear window glass goes all the way down. The other ones are so designed that they interfere with their wheel well, so they can't go but halfway down. So we're going to begin the operation. Here we're looking for the single screw on the bottom here. It's easy to miss because if the carpeting is kind of worn and covers the hole, you might not know it's there. So make sure you take this off first on the Roadmasters. It's a self-tapping screw. And here's the screw that holds on the panel that covers up the door handle. It also encases the manual lock lever. If it were the front seat, it'd also have this speaker. And behind the straps here, we have fairly sturdy, large screws that take a number 3 screwdriver to fit properly and remove. And these hold the straps on quite well. Actually, this is one of the few cars where the straps don't break on GM cars. Some of the 70s straps, they broke rather easily on the Cadillacs. So we're taking those off. You can see those white clips that hold the strap in place into that hole there, just to the left of the screwdriver here. Yeah, this is a 1996 Roadmaster Limited. My daughter's car. I had it for a while. I found it in the junkyard and fixed it up for her. And her late father-in-law paid to have it painted. It's a pretty nice car. Now here I'm a little confused. I expect the clip to be on the front edge here, and it's not. On the front door, this clip is on the front edge. But on the rear doors, the clip is on the back edge. Once you disengage the clip, you can slide it out. And you have also little clips holding on the wire harness plug. Here I'm describing how to put it back on. Yeah, the reason why I have to do a voiceover is because the Bluetooth for the microphone was not set up properly, and we didn't discover that until after this whole video was filmed. So rather than redo the whole thing over again, I'm doing a voiceover. Now here we got the lobster claw. Here you want to place it between the door and the clip, not between the clip and not between the clip and the door panel, but between the door and the clip. You're trying to avoid breaking the bosses on the door panel, which are very easy to break. So this tool I recommend it highly. This one's made by Lyle. You probably get it at almost any parts store, car parts store, or a tool store. Almost everybody carries the Lyle line of tools. They're inexpensive. And for tools like this, they're just fine. I wouldn't buy a socket set, but something like this is just fine. Okay, we got all the clips disengaged. The top edge of the door panel is held on by friction. At each end is a little kind of slot it fits into. Now here, I'm a little bit getting ahead of myself. I should have removed that panel around the door handle first. I'll figure it out eventually. I've done this so many times that I'm surprised I didn't do that. This panel has got little tabs on each of the four corners. I think there might be 6 tabs actually that kind of hold it into place. And then you have to kind of finagle it around the door panel or the door handle to get it off. There we go. All right. One more hit. There we go. You see those two on each end of the window there. You got these little tabs with holes in them. That's what holds the receiver from the door panel and keeps it locked down there. Now we got to take this dust shield off with this really sticky black stuff that if you get it on your clothes, it's almost impossible to get off, which I did. I got it on my jacket, I think. Now there are there's 3 sliders. One is a round one that goes up vertically up and down, a little channel. It's a roller. And then on the horizontal channel, you have sliders that break. And the trick is to raise or lower the window so you can access the channel. Now, when they manufacture these, they put the sliders in the channel, but then they crimp the channel at each end so the sliders don't fall out while they're assembling the car. But you have to uncrimp them to get the sliders out. There's no need to crimp them back in, because once the sliders are connected to the scissor regulator mechanism, they're not going to come off. His lips are moving, but he's not saying anything. I think he's describing what I just described. I did this a few weeks ago, so I don't remember exactly what I said. Now here, the operation is to uncrimp the channels so you can more easily slide out the sliders. There is another obstacle that's kind of a pain in the butt. There's a rivet head that you have to get past at the very end that holds the channel to the window assembly. We're not going to mess with that. We're going to force it by. Now, while you're doing this, it might be a good idea to use a 2x4 or something to hold the window up. While you're doing this, I didn't do that. I'm using, see it falls down. I'm using the pins to kind of hook them into the channel to hold them up while I'm doing my work. But the pins will fall, away from the channel often. Here toward the left, you can see one of the white slider that broke. It's in two pieces. They always split right where the pin goes into the hole. Eventually, I've replaced some of these more than once on some of the cars. Between my cars, my dad's cars, and my daughter's and son-in-law's cars, I probably have done this at least a dozen times. See how now this one here didn't break, so the one on the rear is okay, but you're going to replace it anyway because you know that it's old enough to where it's going to break probably within the next year or two anyway. So while you're doing this, you want to replace them both. I've never had to replace the one on the vertical channel that has a roller in it. In fact, some people, and sometimes I have actually used rollers in place of these sliders, even on the horizontal channel. And that's probably a good way to go because I've never known them to break. But I don't have any, so I'm replacing these with original style sliders on this job. Here I'm trying to find I'm trying to slide the broken one back towards the back because I'm not going to open both channels. I got one channel open. I'm going to slide all of them out that same way. And plus in this particular door, I don't remember if the front one is easier or the back one is easier, but on the back doors, the back way out is the easier way to get these off. You got more room. You can see you got a lot less room in the front there to work with as far as getting your hands in there. I didn't use a hammer in my bag of tricks. It's too lazy to go get it. Now here is the slider. It's got little wings on it that help it from being sloppy. You get it in there, and there's 4 wings on each one that kind of, it's got spring-like kind of causes a little bit more friction and holds it in there so the slider doesn't jiggle back and forth or in and out. So here I'm trying to hook the pins into the channel so I can hold the window up. That's what I'm fighting with here. Here I'm showing those little wings. That kind of hold it in the channel. Put a little bit of grease on them. Makes it a little easier to put them in. You can see up there in the channel where okay. The trick is to get it past the rivet head. Got the channel open, but the rivet head causes it to be a little bit too tight. So just slide it in. So you kind of have to find a way to either push it in or tap it in. And There we go. Yeah, it's still kind of hung up there. There we go. Now I have to slide that one all the way to the front to get it ready to drive the pin into it later. So now I'm sliding it with the screwdriver towards the front, where eventually I'll connect it with the pin. Get your fat head out of the way so you can see what's going on. Okay. So now I'm trying to position the arm with the pin on it so I can hook it into the channel to hold it up long enough to work on putting the other slider in. You got a little bit of leeway on the back one, but the front one you have to get it just about perfect before you can find the room. Do you get a pliers in there to snap the pin into the slider? Okay. Now I'm putting the second slider in for the back pin. And once I get it in there, I'll be connecting that one first because it's easier to do. And that will hold up the window better for me as I operate on the front slider. There again, we have the head of a rivet that kind of makes it difficult to get it past there. There he goes, pushing it through. Got it. Now I want to line up the pin on the arm with the hole on the slider. You know, every time I do this, it's a little different. The very first time I did it, God, it took me 2 hours. Sometimes I can do it in 15 minutes. And today, I'm a little rusty or something. It's taking me a little longer than normal. But it's probably more accurate as far as most people's attempts. Okay, now I'm using the channel locks to snap in the arm pin into the slider. So now the window's going to stay up for me. Now it's a matter of finagling the pliers in such a small space here to get enough grip or leverage to snap in the pin. This was the most frustrating part of the operation, really. As I said, I don't remember the front door, which side is easiest, but there's always an easier side. It seemed that now the front doors of the Cadillac, Caprice, and the Fleetwood are all exactly the same, but the rear doors are different. The Caprice and the Roadmaster is shorter, a little bit harder to work on, and the Cadillac is a little bit larger, a little bit more room. Cadillac is 10 inches longer than the Roadmaster, and a lot of that difference is in the back seat. About 5 inches. I think the door is almost 5 inches longer on the back door of the Cadillac Fleetwood. I measured it once, I don't remember, but it's about 5 inches. Half of the added length of the Fleetwood over the Roadmaster. Never owned a Caprice. My dad had one. He had a couple, actually. I never cared for the look of the Caprice or the Impala. There, I think I got it. Yeah, that's it. Now I got to disconnect the last wire here so I can show you a little bit more about the door panel. That last wire was the safety rear courtesy light. Someday, child, this all will be yours. I always get excited about those dad jokes. Okay, here's the boss that holds on the fastener. And what you don't want to do is use a screwdriver to take it off the door, because you end up crushing that boss. Ask me how I know. I had to repair more than one. I finally found that tool that makes it a breeze. La da 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 da. Scooby Dooby Doo. All right, I'm coming back. I'm just demonstrating how this, you want to get it between the flange of the, there you go. You don't want to put it under the fastener. You want to keep it on top of the fastener to pry against the door and the fastener. You don't want to pry against the actual door panel, or you could crush that boss, that retainer there. This one was broken on when I took it apart, so I have to replace the missing one, and I have to replace another one on the bottom there that broke in half when I took it off the door. To put them on or off, you kind of twist them. It's kind of like a spiral design where you twist it into that hole. It's got a leading edge that fits in there, and then you twist it, and it holds it on to the hole. The hole is slotted to allow for some adjustment when you, if there was no adjustment in it, it'd be harder to line up when you put the door panel back on. Here's one of the bosses I broke one time. Right there. Because I didn't have that tool. There's two different designs of these fasteners, but both of them twist in. Both designs twist in similarly. You can see that it has little ridges on the main shaft. That's the friction aspect that holds it into the door. There you go. And this one is a different design. Rather than a slot, it's got a leading edge that you twist in there. There you go. Yeah, it's in there now. Now we got all the fasteners where they're supposed to be. And I'm taking the screw, self-tapping screw out of the door panel to inspect it to make sure that the threads are still okay. Because I had a hard time taking it out. I thought maybe that one of the threads were stripped, but I want to check it here. Yeah, looks good. Okay, now we're ready to put the door panel back on. There again on the top of the door, on each edge, you can see a little flange and hole that retains a kind of a clip on the top edge of the door panel. Here I'm taking off the one broken fastener. See how easy they pop out when you got that tool? So if you do this job, go get that tool first. You'll be glad you did. And the Lyle, the tool company, is not paying me to sponsor their product, so there you go. That's what I'm talking about. The top of the door panel has little tabs that fit in there to hold it in place. Here we go. And now we kind of want to, with the little bit of give we have on those fasteners, we can line up the holes better. Or line up the fasteners to the holes. Make sure you get them all lined up before you start slamming them together, because if the fastener doesn't line up with the hole, you can end up bending the fastener and you have to take it off and put a new one in. And once you're confident you got them lined up, you can use brute force and smack them in there. Yeah, I'm old, so I have to take off. I'm very nearsighted, so I can actually see close up real well without my glasses, but with them, my lenses and muscles in my eyes won't allow me to focus close up. I avoid reading glasses. Now, to line up the screw, that one there's no give. There's very little give, so you have to be precise. So I had to get down there and actually find it that way. I could have used all, I guess, but I didn't want to pull that screw out again because it doesn't fall out. You have to yank it out. So here we go. And now the main screws that allow you to pull on that strap Behind there, the strap has got a piece of metal that you're actually pulling against. So you're not really pulling against the plastic aspect. You're pulling against the kind of a metal liner inside the strap there. The Fleetwood door panels are more elegant and better designed. The worst part of these Roadmasters, as far as I'm concerned, are the door panels. And that fake wood strap, fake wood on the upper and lower portion there, they often come apart and break, and God, I hate them. The 91, 2, and 3 Roadmasters have a little bit better design on the door panel, I think. Now here you got to make sure you line up the slot on the manual door lock with the pin that the actual mechanism of the door lock itself. Here you back at the finagling. There we go. And now we got to line up that pin with the slot. Pins and slots. Everywhere you look. Yeah. Just by the pure resistance, you can feel that it is lined up properly. Now those 4 or 6 tabs you got to get in there. And the last screw. I think I had my last screw about 10 years ago, I'll tell you the truth. But this is the door's last screw. All right, almost done. And now we put the power window switch / ashtray back on there. Little tab there that slides in first, and then the clip on the back holds it in place. And now we have a window